Good evening. I'm Ayana Murphy, and it has been an honor and a privilege serving the Notre Dame BLSA as its president this school year. Before we begin our awards, I just wanted to take a moment to thank this year's BLSA leadership. If you could please stand when I call your name, that would be wonderful. This evening would not be possible without all of your help and the energy that you guys pour into our community and our organization. So I just want to say a thank you to Luam Gaber-Selassie, our Vice President, Antonio Jean Denis, my apologies, our Treasurer, Caitlin Bowe, our Secretary, and each of our amazing committee chairs. Maya Joseph, Aisha Ba, please, yes. Brianna Ivy, Joshua Mannery, Jamal Wilson, Jakeem Aaron, and Will Irvin. And last but certainly not least, I would like to extend a very special thank you to our beloved advisor, Max Gaston. Please give us a round of applause. So I'm going to start off our award ceremony. Our first award is the Dwight King Community Service Award. This award is presented to a first-year law student and Notre Dame Black Law Students Association who continuously displays exceptional leadership, teamwork, and initiative in service to the law school community and the mission to the Black Law Students Association. This year, we are celebrating Ms. Jennifer Osita for her dedication and support of BLSA. She has been an active member who comes and prioritizes our organization, even with all of the chaos of 1L. We appreciate you and we see what you're doing. Jennifer, please come accept your award. Our next award is the Community Advancement Award. This honors a member of the Notre Dame Black Law Students Association who has demonstrated a deep commitment to advancing the goals and missions of the Black Law Student Association, both within Notre Dame and in the broader African American community. This year, BLSA is honoring Ms. Aisha Ba. Aisha has gone above and beyond for BLSA throughout her time at Notre Dame. She continues to take the initiative, and she is an exemplary leader in our community. All of the fabulous merchandise that you have seen us sporting around has been created by her. Aisha, please come accept your award.
Thank you.
The Dean's Circle Award is presented to a first-year law student in the Notre Dame Black Law Students Association who continuously displays exceptional leadership and takes initiative. This year, it is our privilege to present this award to Ms. Kayla Dixon. This year, Kayla worked diligently in her role on the Alumni and Professional Development Committee. She did exceptional work, and we could not be more proud of her. Kayla, please come accept your award. This next award honors a law student in the Notre Dame Black Law Students Association whose exceptional leadership, teamwork, and embodiment of Notre Dame values throughout their time at the Notre Dame campus has had a significant positive impact on the Notre Dame Black Law Student community. Notre Dame Black Law Students Association and our community. This year, we are honored to be giving this award to Mr. Joshua Mannery. Josh works tirelessly to make Notre Dame a more inclusive space for Black students. He is kind-hearted and he makes each and every person feel welcome and comforted when they come to Notre Dame. As our admissions liaison, he travels and he represents BLSA at events across the country, and we are so grateful to have him on our team. Josh, please come accept your award. Our last student award honors a law student in the Notre Dame Black Law Students Association whose efforts to support Black students through leadership and dedication throughout their time on the Notre Dame campus has greatly improved the experience of Black law students and strengthened our community. This year, we'll be highlighting Mr. Jamal Wilson. Jamal is truly the MVP. This year, he has led the charge of bringing back the BLSA alumni newsletter, and he has helped to bring ND BLSA to new heights. Jamal, please come accept your award. At this time, I'd like to now invite our secretary, Caitlin, to come up and present the next award.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Caitlin Bowe, and I served as BLSA's secretary this year. Tonight, I have the honor of presenting our Staff Appreciation Award. This award is given in honor of a Notre Dame Law School staff member who has demonstrated remarkable support to the Notre Dame Black Law Students Association. Tonight, we gather to recognize the people who form the backbone of our organization. Among them stands an inspiring individual who embodies dedication, support, and unwavering commitment to our cause. She has played a pivotal role in nurturing the infrastructure that has enabled BLSA's extraordinary growth. Despite the demanding nature of her role, she approaches her duties with unwavering dedication and grace. Her tireless efforts ensure that BLSA and other organizations continue to thrive. On behalf of BLSA and the entire NDLS community, we extend our deepest gratitude for her hard work and selflessness. It is with great pleasure that I present the BLSA Staff Appreciation Award to Ann Kiley. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a shining example of excellence and commitment. I would like to invite our Vice President, Luam, to come up and present the next award.
As was mentioned, my name is Luam. I'm the Vice President, and I have the honor of presenting the Charles F. Crutchfield Professional Excellence Award. It's in name of the first African-American member of the Notre Dame faculty. The Black Law Student Association presents this award to current, full-time, or adjunct professor who, like Professor Chuck Crutchfield, demonstrated a commitment to diversity both inside the classroom and outside. This year's recipient of the Charles Chuck Crutchfield Award goes to Judge Andre. Wow, sorry guys, I'm extremely nervous. This year's award goes to Judge Andrew Gamage. Judge Gamage's commitment to diversity shined through his actions both inside and outside the classroom. He took the lead to collaborating with Notre Dame's law school to aid in over 200 South Bend residents in preparing criminal exoneration petitions. This initiative serves as a testament to Judge Gamage's role in the community leadership, as well as his background in public defense, ensuring individuals who have served their time and maintained good behavior are protected from discrimination when seeking housing, employment, and education opportunities, and have an opportunity for a fresh start. When we talk to students about what it's like working with Judge Gamage, the impact of his leadership and mentorship is clear. In January, I was doing my final trial for intensive trial advocacy. I did not have the honor of having Judge Gamage as my judge, but we did run into each other in the courtroom hallways. When I told him I had won my case in all 3 counts, he was very excited. He wanted to hear all about it. Keep in mind, this was not a real case. There was no real-world implications. In fact, it was just a pass-or-fail class. Additionally, when I spoke to students that work with him, this is what they had to say. Jamal Wilson at 3L, who worked on the exoneration project with Judge Gamage, expressed, "It is individuals like Judge Gamage who truly make BLSA, Notre Dame, and the South Bend community special." And Aisha Ba at 2L, who served as a judicial extern last semester, said, "I have no doubt Judge Gamage's impact will live far beyond him. It's obvious he cares deeply about the next generation of attorneys, and I hope to give back in the same way in the future." Judge Gamage. I would like to invite Ayana to come up to do the next award.
The Alvin McKenna Alumnus of the Year Award was created to honor and recognize significant contributions made to the Black community, demonstrated commitment to Notre Dame Law School, and accomplishments that have brought credit to Notre Dame Law School and Notre Dame Black Law Students Association. This year, we will be honoring Ms. Kim Lauren Worthy. Kim is the current prosecutor of Wayne County in Michigan, home of the city of Detroit. She's the first African-American woman to serve as a county prosecutor in Michigan and to hold that office. She became internationally recognized for prosecuting the Detroit mayor, Kwame Kilpatrick, at the beginning of March 2008. Kim received her undergraduate degree from the University of Michigan, and she completed her law degree here at NDLS in 1984. She began a long and inspiring career as an assistant prosecutor in Wayne County in 1984. She served in that position for 10 years, becoming the first African-American special assignment prosecutor under Prosecutor John O'Hare. Kim had over a 90% conviction rate, which is crazy if you understand how big Wayne County is. There are 83 counties in the state of Michigan, and that office handles 52% of felony cases and 64% of all felony cases that go to trial. In 1994, she was elected to the Detroit Recorder's Court. And from 1994 until January 2004, she was a judge on the Wayne County Circuit Court. In 2009, Kim began working on resolving a massive backlog of unprocessed rape kits in Detroit after an assistant prosecutor discovered a massive number of kits sitting in a warehouse that the Detroit Police Department had used as an overflow facility. There were 11,431 unprocessed sexual assault kits sitting in that storage unit. In one case, the rape was linked to a man that committed 3 murders after his rape kit could have been processed. And cases like that demonstrate the importance of what Kim's work has been. From the inception of the project, Kim has been committed to ensuring that every single kit was tested, every kit was investigated, and that there was a victim-centered approach throughout this process. During that time, the city of Detroit was actually in bankruptcy, and they were having difficulties actually funding the project. So Kim turned to the people of Detroit, and eventually she received wide support throughout the country, and she was able to get every single rape kit tested. In 2016, she was featured in a documentary, I Am Evidence, that was produced by Mariska Hargitay. That document won several awards, including an Emmy. In 2018, after a distinguished career with many awards, she was inducted into the Michigan Women's Hall of Fame for her years of tireless work at the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, and specifically for her outstanding work with getting all of the Detroit sexual assault kits backlogged processed. In 2019, on the 10th anniversary of the discovery of those rape kits, there was a commemorative ceremony to celebrate the completion of testing all of the rape kits. As of June 2020, there have been 219 convictions and 2,234 cases that were actively being investigated. These cases have been linked to people in 40 of the states of the country. I know, it's astounding. After wanting to have a convention integrity unit for many years, Kim finally received funding for that in the Wayne County's prosecutor's office, and it became operational in January of 2018. The Convention Integrity Unit investigates claim of actual innocence, and this allows for people who have been wrongfully convicted to have their cases reopened and reassessed. Prosecutor Worthy also has a partnership that offers youth an option to participate in a unique juvenile mediation program called Talk It Out. Talk It Out will bring selected juvenile offenders and their victims together with a focus on repairing the harm resulting from the minor's behavior. The goal is to provide an alternative to formal prosecution that gives delinquent youth an opportunity to take responsibilities and make amends. And it also gives their victims a forum to be heard and healed. But most importantly, her biggest accomplishment is being a mother of 3 daughters, Anastasia and her twins, Anison and Alessandra. Ms. Worthy, please come accept your award.
I am really pleased to be here. I feel I must explain one thing before I begin, though. I have on tennis shoes because I'm recently off of foot surgery. And I'm looking at all these wonderful gowns and these wonderful shoes. I feel I have to explain why I'm coming to this event, a black tie event with tennis shoes on. You know, it's so much different here. You didn't have to say it was 1984, but it was. When I first came here, it was very different than it is now. And I can't even tell you how heartened I am to see all of these young students of color at the school. When I first started, there were a maximum of 4 students of color in my class every year, 4. And at least 2 of them didn't make it to the second year. We didn't have all the support, except I had my wonderful dean, Dean Link, who was supportive and played many, many roles for the students of color to do well at the law school. I came to law school completely blind. I did not have any people in my family. In fact, I'm still the only lawyer in my family that had gone to law school. My grandfather, my father, none of us had gone, and I had no idea what to expect. And I just thought, because I graduated from the University of Michigan and I did well in college, that I would do well in law school, and that was not the case. I did horribly my first year. And I'm saying all this because I want everybody in this room to understand that no matter how you do in law school, as long as you have the support and you finally figured it out, as I did in my second year and started to do well, you can still have a wonderful and glorious career. I didn't feel that way at first. I felt because I didn't do well my first year, that was going to have some kind of direct effect on my career, and it just didn't. And I have to tell you, it wasn't until when I attended my first BLSA weekend that I felt that way. We had alumni coming in of color every single year, and I got to know them, especially the ones from Detroit, formed a bond, and really because of that, and I am not exaggerating, although I was a trial lawyer, so I can certainly exaggerate with the best of them to make my point. But I have to tell you, it was because of the experience of the organization here, events like this. I met people who became my mentors, and also I met Willie Lipscomb, and I want to talk about him for a minute, who got me my first job at the prosecutor's office. He was one that graduated from this university, this law school, in 1975. And then there were people with him that graduated that I met, and African-American students and lawyers and entrepreneurs and people with wonderful careers that we met and mentored people like me who are sitting in the chairs where you're sitting now. And it's because of that that I am the lawyer I am today. And once I got past that initial failure, although I have to tell you, if I hadn't had that experience of failure my first semester of law school, it may not have produced the person I am now. Willie Lipscomb taught me that whenever you face a challenge, no matter what it is, you can get by it and you can get through it. I learned the hard way what it was like, but he introduced me to John O'Hare, who then became my boss. He was the Wayne County prosecutor at the time. He looked at Wayne County, and as she said, Wayne County has 43 different municipalities, 43 cities, townships, and municipalities, the largest in Michigan by far. We do 18,000 to 22,000 cases a year. Our prosecutors and my prosecutors have more cases per prosecutor than any place else in the country. But it's also the most rewarding job there is, in my opinion. So I never wanted to be a prosecutor. In fact, when we did State versus Diamond, do you still do that? State versus Diamond was the case that we did that wasn't a real case that we advocated for when I had trial accuracy here. And they said, pick the side that you're never going to be. So I picked the side of the prosecution. My view at that time, my stereotypical view of a prosecutor, that we prosecute people of color, we throw people in jail, we throw away the key, and that's all we do. And I could not have been more wrong, and I hope by the end of my remarks you'll see why. The star thing is the Conviction Integrity Unit, which I'll talk about in a minute, where we exonerate 32 men, all men of color, who are now out of prisons for crimes they did not commit. When I became the prosecutor, after I became the assistant prosecutor, after I went to the bench, and when I became the prosecutor, one of the things I wanted to do since 2004 was have a Conviction Integrity Unit. I thought, and still believe, and almost none of my colleagues, my other 82 colleagues across the state of Michigan do not agree, that any office that is afraid to look at their previous convictions, whether it was on your watch or not, are cowards. If we want to ensure that justice is done, that means we not only ensure justice is done each and every day for the cases we put into the system, we also must not ever be afraid to look at cases that we did that may not have been fully, properly done. That means justice wasn't done. That means flat out the wrong person was convicted. We need to make sure that we correct those wrongs. And I don't care if it happened 50 years ago. And I say 50 years ago because our first exoneration was a man that had served 48 years in prison for a crime that he did not commit. And let me tell you about him and almost all of the exonerees that we have. None of them are bitter. They come out of prison grateful, thanking God, and giving back. All of them. And I have to say, I've never encountered anything like that before. But I digress for a minute. When I was an assistant prosecutor, my last year of being an assistant prosecutor, I did a case called The People versus Larry Nevers and Walter Buxton. And they were two Detroit police officers who clubbed to death an innocent, doing nothing black man in an automobile. Stopped him for a bogus offense and then clubbed them to death when they realized they had the wrong, literally, with their car flashlights. We didn't have any video. Our only eyewitnesses were people that most people would not regard their word to be anything. They were sex workers, they were drug sellers, they were people who basically lived on the street. My boss told us to look at that case because, again, an innocent man who had done nothing but be in a car that the police mistook for another car that had been stolen, and they clubbed him to death. We were able to win that case, convict him of second-degree murder. It still stands as the only case, the first case in the United States where on-duty police officers were convicted of second-degree murder. Now, because of that, when you're a politician, your name is out there. I took the advantage to run for judge of the Detroit Recorder's Court that was later turned into the Wayne County Circuit Court. I stayed on that court for as long as I could take it, Judge, for just over 8 years. And I say that because it's very restrictive. And you do good work, but you can only react to something that's already happened. And I wanted to be proactive. At the time, the elected prosecutor, John O'Hare, had retired. The elected prosecutor, and I won't name his name, he was almost on the verge of paying his prosecutors for their successful convictions. Now, I heard that, and I knew that I was qualified. I had been in that office for almost 11 years. I had been on the bench at that time for 7, 8 years, and I thought I was the best qualified person to unseat him. And I ran for prosecutor. He took another job, and so I didn't have to run against him. He was a very powerful, connected person, politician. And I took that job, and I was appointed to that job by the Circuit Court bench in 2003. When I came in, my attitude was that we need to look at the core causes of crime. We need to look at the root causes to find out why people were committing crimes. To me, even though I was a prosecutor, even though that was very, very unpopular at the time, progressive prosecutors are doing that now across the country, I wanted to know why our crime rate was so high. I wanted to know what we could do about it. And so I created this program called Change the Culture. I was laughed at in the press. I was laughed at everywhere because I wanted to see 3 things. I wanted to know what led juveniles to be involved in crime. I wanted to know what led juveniles to be involved, traverse that criminal bridge, to be involved in adult criminality. And I wanted to help people that could be helped on the other end. Not just recommend to judges we send the right ones to prison, but we actually have a mechanism to help them when they came out. And back in 2004, that was not a popular decision. So I stayed in that job as long as I could. Then I ran for prosecutor, as I said. And those are the changes I wanted to make immediately. Judge Lipscomb told me that the legal system looked at their jobs the way the medical profession does. We would do so much more work in preventing the things that happen. Just like doctors try to prevent diabetes. They do their research. We don't do that in the criminal law. All we do is react. And so that was my attitude. As a result of that, there were several things I just want to highlight. And I want to just preface that by saying I am hiring. I am getting ready to hire almost 20 new prosecutors. If you want to do rewarding work, if you want to help that family that has lost a loved one through gunfire, if you want to help that child who's been kidnapped, if you want to help that elderly woman, like we had a case this week, an 85-year-old and a 78-year-old, their house was broken into and they were brutally raped and tortured to the bounds of their life. If you want to help children that have been abused, and right now we have just a plethora, unfortunately, of very serious, very ugly, very hard child abuse cases. You want to help those families, help those children, come and work for me and work as a prosecutor. We want to make sure in my office, and I tell my staff, we do not charge cases if we cannot prove them beyond a reasonable doubt. We don't charge people if we think they're guilty. We don't charge people if we know they're guilty of sin. But if we can't prove that case beyond a reasonable doubt, we cannot charge it. We are not a rubber stamp for the police. We're going to try to make sure we get it right, and we're imperfect human beings. The criminal justice system is a good system. The problem is you have imperfect people in the system running it. And so we're not perfect. We make mistakes. And I encourage my prosecutors, if during the case of a trial, if we charge it with the best of intentions, but if we find, when we're investigating it, getting ready to take it to trial, if we find in the middle of trial that something is not right, and it may not just be the person's not guilty, it may be just something wasn't right with what the investigation did, what the police did, then it is our duty in my office to make sure that's brought to light. I will never, and I do never, in fact, I reward them for prosecutors come forward and think, boss, this case just isn't right. I don't think this person is guilty. My witness has gone south. I think my witnesses are lying. We have to confront those truths and make sure that the defendant is not convicted because of the brunt of things that have gone wrong. And so, again, I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but again, we have a conviction integrity unit. We were the first in the country to have a unit dedicated strictly just for LGBTQ crimes, because we had I woke up one day and I discovered that we had 9 women, trans women of color, who had been murdered, and no one was investigating their cases. Nobody cared. Their lives had no value to anybody, it seemed. And so that's when we came up with this particular unit. And we were the first in the country, other units have it now, where we concentrate on the violence done to the LGBTQ community. Because I represent the people of the state of Michigan. I don't just represent the straight people. I don't just represent the white people. I don't just represent the traditional person. Wayne County also has we have the biggest concentration of Arab Americans outside of the Middle East. We have a huge Asian population. We have a huge Latino population. It's one of the most diverse counties in the country outside of LA, New York. And we must have policies and procedures to make sure that everybody is protected, everybody is represented. And every defendant that we have, because a prosecutor's duty includes giving a defendant due process. It's not just representing the victim of crime. We must make sure that every defendant we have has the proper due process. And people think that's strange, but that is a mandate of a prosecutor. Another thing we've done, she told you about Talk It Out. She told you about the rape kits. We found 11,341 untested rape kits, and as you can imagine, 86.3% of those women that had their rape kits ignored were women of color. Over 86.3%. Because as I have talked about every time I have a platform, the color of your skin dictates the value of your life in the criminal justice system. You can be a victim, but if you're a blonde-haired, blue-eyed person, your rape gets solved. And people ask, well, why were so many of them women of color? Because even law enforcement officials of color didn't pay attention to their needs. And that's why we were so aggressive in making sure we brought them to justice, and Detroit now serves as the national model. I've talked about and the other thing that's critically important for us, we have mental health courts that we helped found. When in 1990, when our then governor closed down all the mental health facilities in Michigan, that meant, where did they go? They were treated in the criminal justice system. The Wayne County Jail to date is the biggest mental institution in the entire county of Wayne, as many of our large judges from large jails from urban cities are. So we have, I don't have time to tell you about them, I'm gonna wrap it up in a minute, but we have programs where we look at those crimes committed by people who have mental illnesses. And if they're non-assaultive crimes, we make sure they get out of the jail fast and put them on the train to correct treatment. We have diverted, in the 20 years that I've been the elected prosecutor, over 25,000 people from the criminal justice system. So these are the things that we work on, and it's not, I'd like to think it's not because I'm a prosecutor of color, but I know a lot of the programs and things we do are because I'm a prosecutor of color. So I invite any of you to talk to me about coming to work for me. We are unionized, we recently got a huge contract, so we are competitive, I think, with prosecutors across the country. But again, I just want to thank you. It's because of the education that I received here. It's because of the support mainly that I received not only from Dean Link, but from the alumni that came back for this particular weekend, that I'm the success I am today. So thank you so much. We do a lot of work that we can to make sure, to try to ensure that our criminal justice system in the city of Detroit and the county of Wayne is fair, that you're safe to go to school, to go to work. We're not always successful. We have a lot of violence, but we always try to temper certain cases with mercy. And so I thank you again for this honor. The support that you have here is unparalleled in law schools across the country. I want you to know that. The support that you have of students of color is just excellent, great, and something that I've never seen, and I'm still trying to process all the support that you receive here. So great school, great education, you'll have great careers. Thank you. I think I can talk loud enough. Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me? Oh, the video. Oh, okay. I've never put my own IFB on. No, okay, I get it. What? Do I put this on?
Yes. So also come.
Okay.
All right. So Thank you for giving us your inspirational speech and explaining this kind of how you got here. I would like to just begin by talking about how you came to Notre Dame specifically in the beginning. How did you settle on Notre Dame Law School, and what was your journey like to get there?
You know, I was waitlisted in Michigan. I was on my way to IU actually. My uncle, who passed away just a few months ago, was the first tenured professor at the University of Notre Dame. His name was Joseph W. Scott. And my sister, at the time, we were 4 years apart, she was recruited as a high school student to Notre Dame. They flew her out, or they winded down her, and she decided to come. My uncle, about when finding that she was going to come, then tried to recruit me here. And I applied and got in, and that's when I joined, because I had family here.
Okay. So you had family here. Did that help you in your actual time at Notre Dame? Did it ease your transition?
It did, because I didn't have any money. My father told me when I went to college that he had 4 years for me. He said he was not going to assist me. He promised me, but he was not going to assist me in law school expenses, although he did agree to pay my rent at Portage Place where I lived at the time. And so, literally, my other 3 African-American colleagues that were in the class when I started with, we all used to pool together. I'd bring the milk, so would bring the cereal, and literally that's how we went to time. So every Sunday, I would go to his house for dinner. So that was his thing, just as the and bring food home.
Can you just take a moment and reflect on your time spent at NDLS and maybe share any nuggets of wisdom or anything that you felt like helped to shape you into who you are today?
You know, I have to tell you, there were some professors here that I really got to know on my journey, especially the first year of and someone, I think, did you taught contracts? I did not understand contracts. I failed not. I think I didn't get it. And I was able to make it through, obviously, the second semester. They had to repeat the first semester. And really, I didn't realize how strong I was. I didn't realize how determined I was. It was tremendous adversity. Again, when you're coming, and some of you may be able to identify with this, when you announce that you want to go to law school, you get into a law school, and you get into a very good law school, to boot, you know, everybody wants you to be successful. But they don't really understand what you have to go through to meet that success. Mm-hmm. And I didn't tell anybody in my family about these struggles, but what I learned from here is that if I could make it through what I made it through, then I could do anything. So when any adversity came my way, I knew already that I could handle that adversity and I would do well. So that's what I learned. I've never been tested the way I was tested here. But that is, once I got through it and actually ended up doing well in my last year and a half here, I knew that I would do well big with it. Because I knew I had that work ethic. I knew that I could. I knew that I could cool down deep front in my soul if I really wanted to be a lawyer. Didn't really want to go to law school, but I needed to be a lawyer. So I knew that would be the only way I could be a lawyer. But once I got past what I went through here and the support that I had, I knew that not only I could be successful, but I could turn to people and actually ask for help, which I was loath to do before I came.
Now, you mentioned in your speech that there were maybe more of you for Black. Can you talk to us about what it was like navigating this predominantly white space as one of 4 Black students at that time?
Well, imagine, if you will, if you didn't have the support that you have now. And that's what it was like. One of the things that I tried to do is really find my culture here. I didn't really find it at the law school because there were so few of us. When I say we were the only people there of color, I mean, that's it. There were no Latinas, there were no any other quote-unquote minorities, hate that word, but that was the word at the time there. And so there were just the 4 of us. And after the second semester, there were just 2 of us. And so what I tried to do, other than my family ties that I had, what I tried to do was go out into the community and meet people. But at the time, I don't know how it is now, the citizens of South Bend were not welcoming to people of color that went to the university. They said stereotype. So I ended up working at a bar as a barmaid, and probably one of the areas of town that I shouldn't be working. And that's where I found my people. That's where when you go to hair salons and bars and barbershops, that's when you meet people you can talk about anything to, and that was kind of my solace. But after like the 51st fight, when I was on the ship, I decided I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should just go to school and then kind of just be that way. But when you have the support of others that look like you and have shared your experiences, it means everything.
and just be so glad and grateful that you have that here now.
So many of our students, myself as a student, have struggled with feelings of imposter syndrome while in BLS and like the space. While you were here, did you struggle with that? And if yes, how did you address it? Or do you have a suggestion for how we should maybe like push through it?
I had to look that up, if you know what that was. Honestly, I don't. I think it came from being here and what I've been through and I climbed out of that way and became a successful student, is that I felt like anything that came my way, I had earned or I had deserved. So I never felt that in that space. I just didn't. And when I started working at the prosecutor's office, when I began to realize that being a prosecutor was not just simply putting people in prison, people of color in prison, it was really about equal representation. Because really, when you talk about Detroit, and that's the largest city, so it's not the only city, but it's the largest city, when you see your representation on both sides of the aisle, so to speak, and you see Black prosecutors relating to our African American, our victims of color, and looking at them and seeing them as a whole person, not just a staff, not just a case that you're going to do with this nameless, faceless person that you really don't care about, as I found that some of my colleagues at the time in the prosecutor's office felt. You really give them a human voice and a human spirit, and they know that you really care about them. You know that you care, that they know that you care, that they have a safe school, that their family is safe, that their children, when they're walking to school, are not being raped, are safe. And when they see how you're fighting for them in court, fighting for their dignity, fighting for their child who was raped, their child who was murdered, and they see a person of color doing that, it gives them added confidence in the criminal justice system. And so that is why I worked my way through those cases. In the last, I was in the prosecutor's office for 12 years. In the last 7, I did exclusively homicide cases. So I probably tried, and I'm not exaggerating, about 300 jury trials of homicides. And you get a reputation, you get to know your victims, you get to know the police that work with them, you force law enforcement to do the right thing. You force them to find the evidence they didn't find the first time. You force them to go back. You send them back 4 times to do the search warrant right if you have to. Because I always tell the police chiefs, and I have a wonderful police chief now, I always tell them, what is the point of your officers going to the street, risking their lives every day if you're going to bring me a load of crap as a case? Excuse me. And so you make them and you force them to do it right. So then when you get into court and you're looking into the eye of the woman who lost 2 children in a drive-by shooting, you want that case to be right the first time. You don't want to be directed out. You don't want to lose that case in front of a jury. And you want to have credibility also in front of juries. And that was the other thing that at that time, because there weren't very many prosecutors of color, that was the other thing. When jurors looked at it and saw you, and they saw there was a Black prosecutor trying that case, it gave you some more credibility as well, if you were real with them. And then you can talk to them. Because jury trials, as you know, is an art. It's an art form, if you do it right. And every case was important, and I felt that I worked my way, I don't want to say up the way, but I worked my way through that and into my other experiences, that I had that legitimacy. And so I don't know what it says about me that I feel that way, but I never felt that syndrome at all.
Okay. So you can speak a little bit about your position as prosecutor in Wake County. So I would like to maybe have you take a moment to outline the responsibilities that you had in that position, and if you could just share with us maybe what the most difficult part is and what you appreciate the most about it.
You know, I think that the most, and this is not like your legal procedurals when you watch on television. On television, when you watch a legal procedural case like Law and Order and some of the other ones that you watch, they focus on the trial. But to me, and this has always been my view, the most important job the prosecutor does is to make sure the right case you get into the section in the first place. And that's critically important. And I'll just give you one quick example. This is when I was more of a baby prosecutor, a younger prosecutor. And I had just been made special assignment, and there was this horrible stretch in Detroit of people throwing rocks over the freeway, hitting cars and killing the occupants. They'd have an accident and they'd crash. And so there were 3 young Black boys, they were boys, they were 13, 14 years old, and they were arrested and accused of killing a Wayne State University is a huge university of Detroit, of a lot of dignity, a well-known school, and killed a Wayne State University graduate student as his boulder, this big rock was thrown off the freeway, went to the windshield and landed on himself. And after talking to them, I was convinced that they weren't the right people. I was convinced that these young boys did not commit this crime. Yep. And they had been waived, at that time you could waive juveniles of any age. Can't do that now. Initially, they had to be at least in their 50s, 16 years old. And I went to my boss. It was Christmas time, I'll never forget. And it was our office Christmas party. I wasn't there because I was interviewing these boys because I was going to do the preliminary examination the next day. And I walked into the party and I told him, we don't have the right people. And he said to me, then do what you need to do. And I dismissed this case the next day in front of CNN. Every news outlet, even from Australia, was there because this was a huge deal at the time, and I dismissed this case. And that, to me, was a very pivotal moment for me. You do not put cases into the system if you do not believe you can prove them guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Even if you know, unlike the case I just described, that they may be guilty as I don't know what, they may have done horrible crimes, but if you can't prove it, then you can't charge it. And my boss at the time, John O'Hare, taught me that. I have colleagues that are neighbors to the north and south of me in 2 other counties with the force on in Wayne County. And their view is, whatever the police bring them, they're going to charge it. So even if they feel in their heart of hearts, it may not be the right case, but they'll plead it down to something that they think that they're suitable. And that's not how we operate in county, and everybody knows it. So the most difficult part of the job is when you have cases, like a serial killer, who you truly believe is guilty, but you don't have the evidence to prove it, letting it go. Can't do. Letting him go from custody. And then we get accused of everything. Kim really wants a perfect case. That's a big knock on me all the time. I don't want a perfect case. I want a case that I can prove in court beyond this doubt. That's what I want. And that means you go out and meet your butts on the street and do what you're supposed to do, and then bring what you have, if what you bring me is not sufficient. And so, with the press, they don't like it. Then, if the most horrible thing happens, that person that you know is guilty, they may have killed a few people, and you have to let go because you can't ethically prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, and then they go and hurt somebody else. That is hard. That is hard. But that must be done. I don't care how many protesters are in front of the courthouse. I don't care how many protesters come to my house. If I feel that I have done the right thing, then I'm okay with the person who looks back at me in the mirror. So it's not an easy job, but I tell you this, it's the most fulfilling job I think that there's.
So, as a Black woman in your position, you're the first woman to hold position, the first woman of color to hold position. Can you speak to about some of the challenges that you think you have specifically because of the fact that you're in a Black woman in this space?
You know, I get asked that question a lot, and I have to answer, and my answer may surprise you. Because I came to the job after I was an assistant, and like I said, I did homicides for 6 years, and a lot of high-profile cases for 6 years, and then I was on the bench. When I became the prosecutor, people didn't doubt my skill. There was a racial component to some of the police chiefs that were what we call out-county. The out-county means when you have a county of 43 cities like we do, Detroit is obviously the largest one, and all the other cities we call out-county. I don't know why, but it's just in that good. And because of the Malice Green case where I convicted the white police officers, I was persona non grata out of the suburbs, but at the same time, they had to admit that I knew what I was doing, even if they didn't like it, and that was based on experience. So I didn't have that issue as much because I came in there with no experience.
Okay. How would you say that you balance getting justice or seeking justice and fair treatment of defendants? So you mentioned that sometimes police just kind of giving whatever they can. How do you balance that in your position?
That's a good question. I can't answer that. I think I've kind of talked about it already. You cannot be afraid when you have a position like this. Because remember, with every stroke of a pen, that either myself or my assistant prosecutor, we can change someone's life forever. And I would like to think that we get it right all the time. So when we sign that arrest warrant, when we sign that search warrant, when we argue to the judge after there's been a conviction, if there's been a conviction, that they should go to prison for X number of years, I'd like to think that we get right. That's not always the case, as I've talked about already, but I think that gives solace that people know, for example, that we're serious about it. And I guess the best example I can give you is after we convicted Larry Nevers and Walter Budson, they went to prison for many, many years, although their case was overturned, but that's one of the story of Puerto Rico, and we had to try it again. We established what we call the Public Integrity Unit. And every police chief in Wayne County and everybody knows that my office is not afraid to charge police officers who do wrong, or public officials who do wrong, or mayors who do wrong, or teachers, or priests, or anyone who does wrong. If they do wrong and we can prove it, we're going to charge them. And I think because people know that, it makes it a little easier. I was having a huge tree in my yard taken down, and it was an ex-police officer and his crew. I wanted the black-owned company, and they came out and they were taking my tree down in the back. And one police officer said he was on his shift the day before, and his partner, and this is a true story, his partner was thinking about taking the money and the drugs that they had found in the search warrant. And the man who headed this tree company, who again was also an active police officer, said, Kim Worthy's a prosecutor in this county. And if she catches you and you get caught for this, she's going to prosecute you. And they got back down. So that was a very heartwarming story. But people knew that was the truth, and that we would do that. And we give little differential between what your job is and what your status is, and who you know. If you have committed a crime, we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt we're going to charge you regardless of who you are.
Thank you for sharing. Are there any last words of wisdom that you'd like to impart on for our audience, specifically the students or you?
You'll have a wonderful career. I can't tell you the doors that being a graduate of this university has opened. You say you're a graduate of the University of Michigan, the University of Notre Dame, and it's almost like, oh my God. And that's the kind of reception that we've had from the education that I got here, and because of what this institution stands for. But I think the best advice I can give you is really stay true to who you are. You may be tempted to take a job that pays a lot of money, and that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you go to that job every day, you're not fulfilled, and you feel you should do something else for a year, or you want to do something else to help people, then look inward and maybe you want to do something else. And don't be afraid to do that. Don't let money be something that caused you to be at a job you don't like, or you have to go work every day that you don't like. There are so many avenues out here for young lawyers, and especially now for young lawyers covered, to do well and to succeed. And if you want to go into politics, or you want to teach, or you want to work at a law firm, or you want to be, corporation counsel for a hospital or a newspaper, or well, I don't know if they have newspapers anymore, but unfortunately. But whatever you want to do, you can, because the strength of spirit that you get from being here is going to sustain you. And keep in touch with the alumni that come through years. Keep in touch with each other and lean on each other for support. And I think that's one of the best, I know personally, that's the best thing that happened to me. I have hired probably 7 or 8 Notre Dame lawyers, law graduates. 3 or 4 of them are judges now. They came to my office and they worked hard. And I have to tell you, Dean, they're all stellar. Every last one of them. Stellar prosecutors who are doing it without an agenda, doing it because they want to. Or even, I don't even get offended anymore, I used to. By people wanting to come here and just get the trial experience. Because when you become a prosecutor, you can be in trial, you'll sign them up. As long as you're capable, you can be doing some serious cases and be in court. But if that's not what you want to do, that's fine. Find what your passion is in the law. When they say love the law, that's not fright. Love the law and love what you do. And you can do it with the foundation, but the community spirit that you have, the alumni of this university, the African American alumni especially, the descendants, can hold you up and support you. And don't be afraid to call them and ask for help, ask for references, ask for advice, because we're here to support you.
Thank you. Please give her a round of applause.
Oh, may I say one more thing? I'm sorry. If I just say one more thing, I just want to mention that our exonerees that we have, we exonerate from being in prison. One of the things we were able to do with this, again, being from where I'm from and being a person of color, I decided that I wanted to support them in the way that I think. So I approached our universities, our colleges universities, in Wayne State, to admit any exonerated that had not been able to go to school because they were in prison free of charge.
That's just an example of unorthodox thinking that you can do when you're a lawyer to help others. My foot's still late. Let's do it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Can we have one more round of applause for Kim Worthy, please? Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I think I know everyone in the room, but just in case you don't know who I am, my name is Max Gaston. I'm the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. But more importantly, on this evening, I am an alumni of the law school, and I am the advisor to the Black Law Students Association. Every year when we have this banquet, I always get up on stage and I say something about our students because they mean so much to me and they mean so much to all of us. And I tend to get a little emotional about it, and to be honest, it's kind of embarrassing. But I told myself this year I'm not gonna cry, so I'm gonna try to hold true to that. But admittedly, I'm not sure that I won't get emotional because the reason that I'm up here is to talk about a group of students who are really near and dear to my heart, and that is our graduating 3L students in the Black Law Students Association. The 3Ls are the largest black class the law school has ever had. Altogether, I think there's about 25 of them. And it's really interesting because they captured lightning in a bottle when they put that class together. And I don't think there's really a perfect way to kind of characterize just how different and unique and just these little shining lights that each of them is. If you're in a room full of people, you could pull any one of them and have a conversation, and any one of them is interesting, a leader, compassionate, exciting, charismatic. They're just so different, but they all have those things in common. And it was a gift for us to have them as a class because coming out of COVID and coming out of the lockdown period, the Black Law Students Association wasn't in a strong place. It just wasn't. And they came in as a group of 1Ls that had all of this energy and all of this inspiration and this willingness to just move forward and make things happen, regardless of whether or not anybody was gonna come with them and make it happen. I remember, because at the time, the refrain was, "This is the biggest black class we've ever had." And they got tired of hearing that. When it's true, you have to say it a lot, but they got tired of hearing it. And I remember a lot of them would come into my office and say, "Okay, we're the biggest black class. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do with that?" That's the kind of people that they are. Every single one of them is that way. And for me personally, I started here 3 years ago as an employee, and there hasn't been a day in my job that they haven't been my students. And so watching them grow and evolve over the last 3 years has really been... Just cry. I'm sorry. What I want to say is that it's been the honor and the privilege of my time as an employee at Notre Dame to be an advisor to these specific students. They mean so much to me, and I'm so proud of them for everything that they've accomplished and for everything that they've done to enrich the institution, to make all of us better, to encourage us and inspire us to have conversations that matter, and to share community, and to be together. You know, Kim was talking about this. This can be a lonely place if you're a Black student, if you're a Black staffer, you know, a Black faculty member. And the community that they bring here, their joy, their jubilance, their happiness, it fills me up too. I'm sorry. I'm incredibly grateful that we got so lucky that we had a group of students like this come to the law school. And I'm proud to see where they're going to go next. Every single one of them has a job after graduation. They are going to be working at some of the best institutions, some of the best employers in the country, in the world, you know, from top law firms like Bryan Cave and Mayer Brown to major businesses like Adobe. You know, these students are going to be trailblazers every single place that they go, and they come from all across the country. And I'm just, as much as it's filled me up to see them these last 3 years, I'm even more excited to see where they go next and what they do next, because they're the leaders. They're the next generation of lawyers that's going to make a difference, and they're the next generation of alumni that's going to come back and inspire the students in this space to continue a tradition of Black excellence. I'm so happy that I've gotten the opportunity to be their advisor, and I'm grateful for our admissions team, for our student services, our career development teams, for all of the teams that have supported those students along the way, because I think that they came in with a lot, but they found support in this space too, and it's been that marriage of their leadership and the leadership in the law school itself that's really positioned them in this place now where they're primed for success. They're gonna be so great. I'm rambling because I love them. I'll just end by saying once again that, and I'll say it specifically to the little table of you that's right there, it really has been the honor of my experience as an employee at Notre Dame to work with all of you. And there were times where you were what kept me here. And I'm really, really happy that you've come so far, and you're gonna do great things. So with all that said, clearly, you know, maybe next year. With all that said, we do have gifts for our graduating 3Ls. We are going to call you up one by one to receive your gifts, but before we do that, there is, we called it in our agenda, a special presentation that we want to make, and so I'm going to invite up two of the 3Ls actually, Jasmine Ferguson and Jamal Wilson, to come and do that.
Thank you, Max. So tonight, we gather not just to celebrate our collective achievements, but to shine a spotlight on a remarkable individual within our BLSA family, Jakeem Aaron. Jakeem is our esteemed ND BLSA President Emeritus. He's been a beacon of dedication and leadership, not only within our BLSA community, but also the broader NDLS and Notre Dame community. In his 1L year, while many of us were grappled with our first set of grades and the nuances of personal jurisdiction, Jakeem was already laying the groundwork for his impactful presidency. He orchestrated a panel featuring some of our most distinguished alums to delve into BLSA's rich history during Black History Month, setting a high bar for his tenure. Under his leadership, Jakeem orchestrated over 30 dynamic programs enhancing our community's vibrancy and engagement. He masterminded not just one, but 2 alumni weekends, including a memorable 50th anniversary reunion that bridged generations of Notre Dame alumni. His strategic vision and tireless efforts were pivotal in welcoming 2 of the most talented and diverse classes of Black law students to NDLS. Jakeem propelled ND BLSA to new heights in both the regional and national BLSA communities, elevating NDLS's stature within this influential organization. His commitment to service shone brightly as he played a crucial role in Judge Gamage's expungement clinic, creating meaningful opportunities for our members to make a tangible difference in the lives of South Bend residents. But Jakeem's impact isn't limited to these grand initiatives. As many know, he's been a mediator, a mentor, and a model of professionalism, ensuring that ND BLSA is synonymous with respect and excellence wherever it's mentioned. His outstanding contributions have not gone unnoticed beyond our law school's walls. He is the distinguished recipient of the Notre Dame Black Excellence Graduate and Professional Student Award and is poised to receive the prestigious Sister Jean Lynn's OSF Leadership Award from the Office of Student Affairs, a testament to his unparalleled influence and leadership. In acknowledging Jakeem's achievements, we are not just celebrating the accolades, but the unwavering spirit and dedication he embodies. Jakeem's work transcends roles and titles. He is a true force for empowerment within our community. It is with immense pride and admiration that we honor Jakeem Aaron tonight. And so as she cries, thank you, Jakeem, for inspiring us all. Now I'll pass it to Jasmine, who will share more about the profound personal impact Jakeem has had on our community.
Yeah, for some reason they thought it was a good idea for me to do this. Oh, thank you so much. Jakeem has emerged as a steadfast advocate, fearlessly championing the rights and voices of Black students within our university community. However, his impact transcends his role as an advocate. Beyond his amazing accomplishments, he embodies the very essence of friendship, a rare gift that brings solace in times of strife and joy in moments of triumph. Jakeem possesses an unparalleled capacity to listen, to truly hear the hopes, fears, and aspirations of those around him. I think I speak for our class and all those that know him when I say that in Jakeem, we find not only a champion for change, but also a confidant, a trusted companion who walks beside you, sharing in your joys and shouldering your burdens. His willingness to lend an ear, offer sage advice, and stand by your side through thick and thin is a testament to the depth of his character and the boundlessness of his compassion. Jakeem, as we embark on the next chapter of our journeys, know that your impact will continue to resonate within the hearts and minds of all who have had the privilege of crossing your path. May you continue to inspire us with your boundless compassion, unwavering integrity, and unyielding commitment to making the world a better place, one friendship, one act of advocacy at a time. I'm done.
Next, I would like to invite Luam and Ayana to come up and present the 3L gifts.
This year, Ayana wanted to present the 3L class with a gift from the 2L class. So when your name gets called, please come up, accept your gift, and stay in the side until everybody's been called. Then you'll come up to in front of the stage, take a group picture. I will start with Jakeem, Aaron. Esther Ademame. My BLSA mentor. Yeah. Jasmine Ferguson. Tyson Holloway. Will Irvin. Serafina Joseph. Joshua Mannery. Daryl Naquin. And lastly, but not certainly least, Jamal Wilson. Yeah, just come up there, yeah, for a picture.
Now do a silly one.
And I want to invite our director of programming to present one last gift.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. So we would be remiss if we didn't honor Ayanna and extend our sincerest appreciation for her outstanding service as president of BLSA for the 2023-2024 school year. Leading an organization as esteemed and impactful as BLSA demands not only dedication, but also an unwavering commitment to our values and goals. In particular, Black women face a number of obstacles and expectations which are substantially amplified when we achieve positions of power. Throughout Ayanna's presidency, she has exceeded expectations not only by overcoming these challenges with grit and gumption, but also by embodying the qualities of BLSA in abundance, guiding our organization with wisdom, grace, and determination. Ayanna has worked tirelessly to foster an environment of inclusivity, ensuring that every voice within our organization is heard and respected. Before the academic year even started, Ayanna set the stage for her pivotal work for BLSA by increasing our yearly budget. This achievement not only allowed us to create ambitious and impactful events, such as hosting a women's self-defense class with the Women's Legal Forum, working with Aisha to ensure we develop new merchandise, establishing a mentorship program for the incoming 1Ls before they even started school, and most notably, putting on the first ever BLSA retreat last fall. Now, some of you may be familiar with how difficult it can be to organize outside events, especially in regards to the legal liability and the fantastic game of administrative ping pong. But this retreat was a gigantic success and a gigantic undertaking. The house we rented was every kid's dream, and we definitely lived it up while we were there and took advantage of letting our inner child out and have fun. We hosted students over a 3-day, 2-night weekend through a cookout, sang karaoke, planned activities that formed stronger bonds between classmates, arranged a dodgeball tournament and obstacle course. Thank you, Aisha, for that. That was amazing. And wrote letters to our future selves, and we'll read them when we graduate. So hopefully the 3Ls remember that you wrote those, and they were great. The retreat, as I said, was a huge success, and we appreciate her efforts into turning this into reality. Her passion for making a difference has consistently been demonstrated through her support for important causes, activating more of the faculty at Notre Dame, preparing care packages for the 1Ls during finals, and most impressively, utilizing the 1Ls, 2Ls, and even the 3Ls within her leadership. I could go on and on about how influential Ayanna has been this year, so on behalf of the entire BLSA community, we extend our deepest gratitude to you. Our lives have been enriched by your selfless service, patient temperament, and unshakable perseverance. We are immensely grateful for your leadership. Please join us in congratulating Ayanna for her exceptional work as the 2023-2024 BLSA president. May we bless you with peace and luck for your 3rd L year. Thank you.
That was very sweet. As I mentioned, our leadership this year was absolutely amazing. You got to hear from Jasmine and Jamal and just hear about the things that Jakeem has done, how he's poured into us. but also just listening to Maya and Luam and all the things that they've done. Every single person that has been involved is like, they're so amazing, it's undescribable how they have helped to build BLSA and make Indie LS like 10 million times better. Sorry, I'm a little emotional. So I want to move on to our next thing that we'll be doing. If you guys could all help me welcome our next executive board, I'm gonna call each of you up one by one. So first, we're gonna be acknowledging our secretary, Jennifer Osita. Our treasurer, Allison Lazare. Vice President Perry Warren. And the President, Nicholas Smith.
Dean Marcus Cole, Mrs. Cole, members of the NDLA board, any who are here, our distinguished guest speaker, Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy, our esteemed alumni, members of our faculty and staff, our current BLSA Executive Board, members of former BLSA Executive Boards, current students, prospective students, family, friends, and well-wishers alike, good evening. Can I start with a story? And this is a tale that many of us here might already be familiar with. So it's a Saturday morning, and this young engineering student is in his college dorm, getting ready to start his weekend chores. It's laundry day. He starts his morning with a quick prayer and begins gathering his dirty laundry. He stacks his laundry high in his laundry basket and sets off to the laundry room. As he's walking through the hallway, he hears music coming from one of his friend's dorm rooms. This was strange, he thought. So as he passed by, he peeked into his friend's open dorm room. He saw his friend busy at work at his desk, but in the middle of the room, there was this woman with her eyes closed, her arms outstretched and clasped, as if she was dancing with someone, sweetly swaying to the music. He was struck by her grace and beauty. He quietly placed his laundry basket on the floor, and like the smooth charmer he is, he swooped in and slipped into her outstretched arms and started dancing with her. Startled, she opened her eyes to find the kindest eyes staring back at her, so she kept dancing. When the song ended, he looked up at her and said, "Hi, I'm Marcus. What's your name?" And the woman said, "Hi, I'm Angie." I call that story How Dean Marcus Cole Met Angie Cole. Now, at this point, you're probably wondering, where is he going with this? I know Kayla is rolling her eyes thinking, Nick is such a cancer. Of course he tells us a story about love. But I tell this story because it made me realize something about leadership and what it takes to be a good leader. Of all his accolades and accomplishments, and despite his illustrious and noteworthy legal career, he will tell you, Dean Marcus Cole will tell you, that the story I just told is the best story of his life. What makes a good leader, you may ask? A good leader is someone who is clear on their values and what matters most to them, and who has the courage to stay true to that. For this 2024 to 2025 BLSA Executive Board, our guiding value is community. Community for us has two value components. Communication and unity for us equals community. We endeavor to foster a culture of communication where each member of this community is inspired to stay in touch with us and with each other. We aspire to foster a culture of unity, where, like Dean Cole and his memories of meeting Angie Cole, your interactions with BLSA will be some of the best stories of your life. We're eager to build on the firm foundation of BLSA eBoard's past. We are grateful to the current eBoard for their support in bringing us to this moment, and we look forward to advancing the mandate of the National Black Law Student Association to articulate and to promote the needs and goals of Black law students and effectuate change in the legal community. I feel very privileged and blessed to work side by side with these exceptional women standing here with me. I'm excited for you all to see what we will accomplish together. You're all in this room for a reason. You've been invited to the cookout to be part of the Notre Dame BLSA family. We ask that you stay a while. We crave your support, your guidance, and your mentorship. Be in community with us. And together, we can ensure that the Notre Dame Law School Black Law Student Association will continue to positively impact the lives of law students for generations to come. Thank you. Next, I invite Luam to come up to the closing remarks.
How does one follow that? Esteemed guests, alumni, current students of BLSA, thank you for joining us in celebrating BLSA's 51st alumni reunion. What an engaging weekend it has been. Yesterday's Fireside Chat, this evening have been remarkable. Seeing students and alum connect with esteemed guests and with each other, celebrating the work and achievement of our community, showcasing the strength of our united voice, and creating bonds that tie us across generations. We are grateful for everyone who attended and contributed to our event. As a result of your passion and constantly pouring into our BLSA community, we have been inspired to continue to be persistent in our work in diversifying the legal community. To our faculty advisor, Max, we want to express our heartfelt gratitude for your support and advocacy of BLSA. Your dedication to championing BLSA within the law school community has been invaluable. Your support has empowered us to navigate the challenges and thrive for progress. Thank you, Max, for being a steadfast advocate for BLSA and amplifying our voice throughout the halls of the law school. To the new executive board, we are excited for your leadership and for your new and energized ideas. Be kind to yourself when every idea doesn't come out of the drawing board, but also know you have a community to lean on during challenging times. We also want to express our deepest gratitude to Fegri Drinker for their generosity in sponsoring this event. Their support reflects to Fegri Drinker's commitment to empowering the next generation of Black legal leaders. Additionally, we want to express our gratitude and appreciation to the men and women that served us tonight. Thank you to the Morris Inn staff. Lastly, let's carry the spirit of tonight forward by championing positive change and elevating Black voices. It was a pleasure having you all here this weekend. Safe travels to those of you leaving this morning, and for the rest of you, we look forward to seeing you at tomorrow's brunch.